This is section 4.4. This is the nuts and bolts of slope of a line. I also have a visual representation of one example of what slope could mean in real life, but this is just the x's and y's, no pun intended. Slope is the number of units the line rises, which is a comparison of your y's. You rise with the y's. Now it can rise or fall for each unit of horizontal change from left to right. That's your x's. So to calculate slope, we compare the rise, which is the difference of your y's, divided by the run, which is the difference of your x's. It tells you how steep a line is. So let's find the slope or steepness of a line that contains these 2 points right here. You could graph it and you could show the rise and show the run, or we can calculate it using this formula right here. So rise divided by run. Let's calculate the rise first. We need to subtract the y's. Now here's the deal. You can choose which order you subtract the y's, but we are starting with the y's, which are the second numbers in the ordered pairs. So I'm going to go 4 minus 2. And when I say 4 minus 2, I'm going to show that I'm starting with 4 and arrowing over to 2. So on top, we put the y's, and I'm going 4 minus 2. Now on the bottom, I don't have any choice anymore. I have to, since I started with the number in the second coordinate pair, and then went over to the first y in the first coordinate pair, I have to go second x minus first x. I have to subtract the x's in the same order that I subtracted the y. So I have to go 3 minus negative 2. Remember, we're always subtracting these values. So 3 minus negative 2. Remember how we worked on adding the opposite back in the day? It's really helpful here because 3 minus negative 2 on the bottom, that stinks. But you know what's a lot better? 3 plus positive 2. I just added the opposite. So that's 5. And then on the top, I have 2. So 2/5 is the slope. Every 2 units I go up, I go 5 units to the right. It's a positive slope. It's positive because the fraction's positive. Here, so I'll go this, I'll show you subtracting. So I'm going to take my y's and subtract them first. So now I started with negative 4. I'm switching the order here. I go I go 4 minus negative 5. Google. 4 minus negative 5. You choose the order that you subtract the y's on top. But then the golden rule is you have to subtract the x's on the bottom the exact same order. So I have to start over here now and go 1 minus negative 3. Now we can add the opposite, add the opposite, add the opposite. We get 9 over 4. Which line's steeper? Well, on this line, I'm going up 9 units for every 4 units I'm going over. So this line right here, I went over a long 5 units. I only went up 2 steps. Here, I only went over 4 steps to the right, and I had to climb up way up over 9. So maybe the slope right here on the same coordinate plane looks like this, whereas here, I'm getting a lot more height for just a few steps over. So this line is definitely steeper. Means we're getting more elevation and less horizontal movement. When you calculate your slope, if you get a positive fraction, you have a positive fraction, here's a fraction, which by the way could also be a negative number divided by a negative number, right? Because that is a positive. That means we're going to rise or go up from left to right. Please make this picture with it. That's a positive slope. Whereas a negative slope, if you have a negative on the top or you have a negative on the bottom, not both, one or the other, it's going to be a negative slope line. That's there. Then if we have a zero slope, that's going to be a horizontal line. It's kind of like, think of zero slope as like, I'm going to have zero fun if I go to Mount La Crosse and I'm not going up or down the hill. If you went out to South Dakota on the plains or the flats out there, it's incredibly flat out there in a lot of places, and you think you're going snowboarding, that's going to be zero fun. A zero slope looks like the Great Plains. Whereas an undefined slope, we've talked about things that aren't functions, they don't make sense. Undefined is a vertical line. That doesn't make sense for a slope. You wouldn't go skiing on that either. You'd be parachuting or bungee jumping or something like that on a vertical line. So that's vertical line is undefined, and that's where we get that vux from. If you haven't heard the word vux before, you'll hear it soon. Horizontal line is a slope of 0. Slope is 0, slope is undefined. Example 5 is going to be some extra credits. I think I'll assign that. If I do assign that, I'll make a video teaching you how to do it for sure. These are tough. These are good. Algebra 2, you'll be doing that, so it'd be awesome to see that. So when you see it again, you're like, oh, I've done this before versus what? Because this is really, what? It's pretty cool stuff.